In this video, I'm going to share exactly what the rental income for my vacation rental property here on Maui has been over the first 5 months of ownership. My name's Jesse Wald. I'm a real estate broker here on the beautiful island of Maui, and the goal of this video is to provide complete transparency into how my investment has performed. So by the end of the video, I'm going to share exactly how much the rental income has been for the first 5 months, how the future bookings are looking, and how the value of the property has changed since I purchased. So a few months back, I did a video explaining exactly how I purchased and set up my vacation rental condo here on Maui. If you haven't already seen that video, you might want to go take a look, but if not, I'm going to provide a quick recap. We were looking for a vacation rental condo. We found a beautiful 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo in a community called Kama'ole Beach Royal. It's in South Maui in Kihei, right across the street from one of the better beaches here in South Kihei, Kama'ole One Beach. We went into contract on the property in October of 2021, closed in December of 2021, and started collecting bookings on the property right before Christmas of 2021. So now we're rolling into the beginning of June here. We have about 5 months of rental history that I can share, and also future bookings that I'd like to take a look at as well. Now that we're all caught up, let's jump into the updates.
So we're going to start by taking a look at the rental income, and we'll dive into the expenses after. Again, I use a property manager to manage my property. I don't do any of the work myself, so it's true passive income. And I use a company called CB Island Vacations here on Maui. It's actually a division of the brokerage that I work for my real estate sales. This is the property-specific webpage for my unit. And of course, the property manager also syndicates out to other websites like Airbnb and VRBO to collect additional bookings and, be competitive in today's market. From here, let's dive into the Backend Portal. So this is the Backend Owner Portal. This is a special website that the property manager provides to us, so we can see what the revenue looks like, what expenses look like. We can see the calendar, which compiles all the bookings from various websites. And we can also reserve our own bookings for ourselves or for our friends and family. Again, we're going to start in December because that's when I started collecting bookings. And also point out at the very bottom, you're going to see a chart that designates what colors mean what on the calendar. Pink are always going to be paying guests. Orange and yellow are going to be the bookings that I reserved for myself and my friends and family. So we started collecting bookings right around the 24th of December. Our first guest reserved and moved in on the 27th. And then in January, you can see we had almost a full month of paying guests. Towards the end of January, actually the beginning of February, we did have a short stay for our own personal use. Otherwise, most of February was also full. Same with March, and again, towards the end of March, we did have a friend come stay in the unit free of charge. April, again, mostly full. May, mostly full. One short personal stay towards the end of May for our wedding anniversary. And June is actually, you can see that right now I'm filming this video on June 14th, and we're pretty full for June for future bookings already. Looking forward, we can see that July, mostly reserved. August, again, mostly reserved. There are some gaps in here that will probably get filled before that time comes. But as of right now, there are a few days that are still open in August. September, almost completely booked. October, almost completely booked. And November, half booked. We do have higher rental rates right around Thanksgiving, so those might take a little bit of time. See those get reserved closer to the actual day. And the same with December. So beginning of December is booked, but we do charge a higher rate for our holiday seasons around Christmas and New Year's. So again, that might take a little bit more time for those days to get booked at the higher rates. January, almost already full. So we're booking way out in advance, 6 or 7 months in advance. you're going to see future bookings already collected. Same with February of 2023. And the final month that has a reservation is March. So we have a healthy list of future bookings already collected. From here, I'd like to jump over to the booking summary page in the owner portal. This is where we're going to be able to take a look at what the rental revenue for each booking has been since we started. So right now I have the dates plugged in as December 31st, 2021 through the end of May 31st, 2022, just to make it easy math if we want to do what the average monthly rental income has been so far. So scrolling through all the way to the bottom, you can see that the total gross rent has been $29,925.09 for the first 5 months of rentals. Now let's go back up and just include the rest of the year. So I'm going to change it from May 31st, 2022 to December 31st and see what a whole year so far looks like, even though we're not all the way through the year. So again, we've only had 5 actual months, and this includes all the future bookings to the end of the year. So as of right now, a full year's worth of rental income, again, the bottom line so far has been $60,619.89. I do think that that's going to be quite a bit higher by the time we actually reach the end of the year. We have a number of gaps in the calendar still to fill in, and a lot of those gaps are going to be the high rental rates, as I had mentioned previously. Just for fun, let's take a look at what my expectations were before I even purchased the property for rental income and compare it to what's actually happening now. So this is the Coldwell Banker Island Vacations rental income study that I use to crunch the numbers when I was considering purchasing the property. I actually did a more thorough video explaining how we generate these rental income studies. You might want to check out that video if you're curious how we calculate expected rental income for properties similar to this. But as you can see, if we take a look at the average column, this is the average of 3 different comps within the same community. Our expectations were, if the unit was to be rented 85% of the time, which is very typical, we expected the rental income for a full year to be around $57,691. Now compare that again to the actual rental income and future bookings that we have for the first year, which currently is around $60,000 and should only get better from here when we fill in the high rental rates time periods. We did pretty good with our estimation. We actually are doing better as far as what the actual rental income will be compared to what we expected. I do plan to do another video at the end of the year to share with everybody what the actual rental income for an entire year turns out to be, so make sure to subscribe to my channel for more updates.
Okay, so quick disclaimer, past performance does not guarantee future results. We can do a pretty good job of looking at what rental histories and property values, the history of property values have looked like over time, but that's not a guarantee, obviously, that it's going to continue in that trend. It could be better, it could be worse, and that's just not something I can guarantee. So I like to tell people that I'm not providing financial advice. I'm just being completely transparent in what my rental income looks like so far for my property.
Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's take a look at how the property expenses have lined up compared to my original expectations. Let's start with the mortgage expense. Of course, this is an expense that doesn't change. I do have a 30-year fixed mortgage. The mortgage includes principal, interest, property taxes, and insurance. That's all covered in my mortgage expense. That's been a locked-in rate of $2,139 per month. The next property expense is the HOA dues. Currently, the HOA dues are $491 per month. The HOA dues will include most of the utilities. The utilities that I'm responsible for as an owner are electric and internet. Now, the electric is a little bit higher than expected. I was expecting to pay about $150 per month, and it turns out it's been closer to $200 to $300 per month. The internet expense is another fixed rate. Currently, I'm paying $49.99 for internet each month. I'm just going to round it up to 50 for easy math. Service orders is the expense assigned to the general maintenance and fixing of items inside the unit. This is something that my property manager does for me. To start off, I really didn't know what to expect here. It turns out it's been an average of about $100 a month for service orders. I do think that's a little bit higher than it will actually turn out to be in the future. It's a little bit higher than usual right now because it's a brand new vacation rental unit, new to the program, and we had to work out some of the bugs. So when we add up all the property expenses, we're looking at about $3,080 per month, which is pretty close to what I expected. It's about $250 more than what I had originally expected for these type of property expenses. Okay, now we have the actual expenses. We already took a look at what the actual monthly rental income has been so far. Now let's calculate the cash flow. For the first 5 months, we had $29,925 of rental income. Divided by 5 months, that's $5,985 per month. Most professional property managers are going to charge around 25% of the gross rental income for their management fee. Subtract the 25% management fee, that leaves you with $4,488 in net rental income per month. Now subtract the $3,080 per month in property expenses, that leaves us with $1,408 in monthly cash flow. Not too bad.
As you can see, the rental income on the property has been fantastic over the first 5 months, and it looks like it's going to continue and only get better from here. But that's really only part of the story. In the short time since I've owned the property, the value of the property has also gone up. There's a unit right next door, same floor plan, same community, literally same floor, just right next door, that sold recently for $700,000. So I purchased the property for $625,000 plus closing costs, and now I feel confident that I could sell this property at $725,000. That's just after 5 or 6 months of ownership. Now keep in mind, I only put 30% cash into the property. So that's roughly a $100,000 increase in value on $193,000, $195,000 in cash invested into the property. That's a fantastic return on investment for the first 5 or 6 months. And that's something that I share with all of my investor clients. The rental income return is just a small portion of the equation. Truly, most investors make the bulk of their profits on the increase in value of the property over time. So speaking of my investor clients, if you're thinking of purchasing a vacation rental property or any real estate here on Maui, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'd be happy to be your agent. I do think it's really important to work with somebody that's not only familiar with the island, and I've been here for about 15 years now, but also somebody that invests actively into the real estate market here. You're gonna get more insights, more transparency, and more just attention to detail because that person has been through the process. So I just don't want the crunching of the numbers and the analyzing of the investment to overshadow the fact that a big reason why people buy property here on Maui is because they get to use it themselves. So a vacation rentable condo allows you the flexibility of renting it for an investment, offering it up to nightly, weekly rentals, realizing a little bit of a return potentially, but also you get to use the property yourself and offer it up to friends and family and share the beauty and magic that is Maui. It's what I like to call a lifestyle asset. It's a wise financial choice, but it's also a wise lifestyle choice. It's something that you can truly cherish and potentially pass on to future generations for continued passive income, as well as enjoyment and creating more memories for your friends and family and for yourself. That's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you can continue to be updated on my real estate adventures here on Maui and throughout the Hawaiian Islands. Thank you again. We'll see you on the next one. Aloha.